Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 29th of November for the Sun or the Ascendant. Now what I'm going to do is give you a broad overview of the major strands that are going to be influencing us all. And then please stay with me, I'll dive deep to give you in forensic detail your zodiac sign forecast. This week begins with a momentous astrological moment. The Sun and Mercury are so tightly together as we see it from Earth that they are in cazimi. This is going to see the power of the Sun magnify the influence of Mercury. Mercury technically is in detriment in the sign of Sagittarius where this event occurs, but I actually really quite like Mercury in Sagittarius. I think it's very thirsty for knowledge, it loves travel, it can be very adventurous, and the Sun and Mercury coming together suggests that we are going to have a greater desire to inform ourselves, but inform ourselves with higher ideals, the bigger picture, philosophy, history, any kind of background research, whether it's into the family tree or a business plan, can really benefit from this combination. Also very good for contractual discussions as well. Now we know that the world environment is challenged severely by COVID. If COVID wasn't there, I think a lot of us would want to inject our existence with some kind of spontaneity and adventurism. But we can still use our minds to achieve that. And Mars in the sign of Scorpio, which it governs, is forging a very compassionate link to Neptune. Now this suggests that we can dive deep in our thinking and the things that we explore, the knowledge that we gain in a very productive way. But also this week, the Sun is going to go on to forge a very stable link with Saturn. Now of course Saturn gets a bad astrological press, but it's very much to do with boundaries, stability, the structures that we're trying to build up that are positive. Of course sometimes Saturn will limit us around the things that aren't working so well. But this is a lovely angle because the Sun in Sagittarius is very much about freedom, and Saturn in the sign of Aquarius, also about freedom, is the ruler of that sign, the co-ruler. So where we're progressive and we're growing our situation and being more pioneering, but we're doing it in a step-by-step, thorough, well-researched way, Saturn supports the Sun in a very constructive manner. Now that brings us to that incredibly powerful total solar eclipse which occurs on Saturday. If you want to watch my deep dive video into this, please see beneath this video. Now this event is broadly going to still be in a sextile with Saturn, but it's also going to forge a quincunx with Uranus. So I think one of the things that we must embrace over the next 6 months, the range of influence of this final Sagittarius Gemini polarity eclipse in the series, before we go more into the Taurus Scorpio season of next year, and we've already had the Taurus lunar eclipse, the first phase of that. I think what we've got to just bear in mind is that the position of the Sun in the 9th house is about going for it. Uranus in the 2nd house is about more being conscious of our resources. So because they're not quite aligning very well, one of the things that we're going to need to work hard on, all of us, over the next half year is using our resources in a more constructive, practical way and not spending money just for the pleasure of it alone. So we're going to be looking to invest in things that have some kind of ongoing practical credential rather than living in the moment quite so much. So I think all of this is asking us to become much more mindful of our resources. But please stay with me for your in-depth forecast. But if you are new to my channel, I would be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Also, if you'd like to get your free daily horoscope, written horoscope, fired to your device each morning, please see the link beneath this video. And if you'd like to get your personal forecast for next year, you can do so now and get the rest of this year free, plus a character analysis plus 30% off. Also, please see the link below. Hello Gemini, and welcome to your in-depth forecast for week commencing the 29th of November. This week is really exciting for you. Mercury, your ruler, is aligned to the Sun at the start of this week in a very intense but positive way. The next 6 months could bring some really amazing developments about in terms of your relationship situation, and that's going to come through the guise of the total solar eclipse at the end of this week. But it can also liberate you from a situation which is not working so well. Uranus is in a quincunx with this total solar eclipse. Uranus is in the part of your horoscope to do with the subconscious, the hidden side of our nature, the 12th house. It can be where our nerves feel rather over aroused because Uranus is a very lively electric energy, but it's also perhaps the part of your nature that's not quite integrated into your whole. And that's really perhaps the growth area that's possible for Gemini people over this next half year. I have a draconic sun in Gemini, and my Mercury is also in Gemini too in draconic astrology. So that means, if you like, the soul part of my nature, very Gemini-like. Also have the Sun and Mercury in the 3rd house in my natal chart, very Gemini-like. So I kind of really get it. The last 9 months or so, year, has been really challenging with Uranus and Saturn in such a strident right angle. And of course they're coming back into that now, inching closer together, as it's repeated for the 3rd time on the 24th of December. But for now, I feel Mercury joining with the Sun at the start of this week is telling you the potential, and the potential is about meeting people halfway. It's about developing listening skills. It's about looking to collaborate and cooperate where possible. That collegiate approach can work so well for you. You have a gorgeous ability to get on with so many different types of people, but it may be 1 or 2 special relationships that are going to be under the spotlight for you at the present time. Because the Sun is forging a terrific link with Saturn this week, if you do need to scrutinise details, perhaps around the contract, think carefully about someone you're getting to know, that can be something you can do in a stable way. Also, Mars continues in a very practical area, and that's good for your physical vitality, which may have been stretched by all the nervous energy that's been washing around this year. But Mars forges a lovely angle to Neptune, and that's just reminding you, with all the practical things you're trying to achieve, stay conscious or stay attuned to your feelings, particularly around your worldly role. So if there's something you're doing that you're not enjoying anymore, this week's stars are suggesting that coming together and working more closely with someone else or others could be part of the solution. Now, the solar eclipse, the total solar eclipse on Saturday, does forge a quincunx with Uranus, and that is potentially challenging if you're finding it difficult to be more conscious perhaps of your vulnerabilities, your anxieties. Own them, because you're an air sign. You live through the prism of quick, sharp communication. That's why you're very mercurial, the fleet-footed messenger. So sometimes thinking more deeply about things, that's not to say you don't do it, but you want to create some energy, you want to help people, you want to do something that brings your intellect to life. And in order to make your relationships work in a really splendid way over the next 6 months, it is bringing your emotions, your spirituality, even your vulnerability into the main part of your being. And then when you link to others, it can be so successful for you. But it's just whether you can give yourself permission to do this. But that's the opportunity, and it is a massive opportunity this week for you, not just over these 7 days, but over the next 6 months.